What's up, Raspberries? Iron Man 3 Blu-ray review. Today on the Razman's Reality. Before I get started, I have to give a very big shout out to a subscriber of mine named Matt. I honestly have no idea how he pronounces his channel name, so I apologize for that, but there it is, an overlay. Please go give him a shout out because I mentioned in my latest Welcome to the Jungle / channel plans video on Sunday that I had not seen this and that this was one of 2 pickups that I would try to find a way to get, even though I'm saving up for stuff, Little Mermaid being the other. And out of nowhere he mentioned that he had an extra copy of this and was willing to send it. So I'm immensely grateful, Matt, and I thank you, and everybody go give him a shout out. So, having not had the opportunity to see Iron Man 3 because of my recent surgery back in June, I feel like I've been waiting forever to see this film, and this is the only one of the Marvel films that I did not have the pleasure of seeing in the cinema. So there was a great amount of anticipation, and this came, my mail doesn't come until like 4 in the afternoon, and by the time someone can get home and check it, it's like 7 at night, and that's the time that I usually have to lay in bed. So there was a tremendous amount of anticipation on this Thursday when I'm filming this. I put this in at 10 in the morning. I started it that early. That's how anxious I was to see it. And so the question then becomes, does it live up to all the other Marvel films? Was it worth waiting to see? Yes and no. And here's what I mean. This is by far the most action-packed of all the single films. It is non-stop thrills from sentence go to sentence end. And just like all the other Iron Man films, it is the most reality-based of all the Marvel franchises. And that is also where I think the film kind of bites itself in the butt. Because all I knew about this film, because I always stay away from spoilers for films that I plan to see. So all I knew about this film was that there was something going on with the Mandarin that longtime Iron Man fans of the comics were not happy with at all. And I can now see what that is. Because what happens in this film is, yes, the Mandarin is the main villain. Yes, we do finally see him. But in a twist no one sees coming, it is actually a scientist who created the extremist body-altering capabilities. And the scientist is actually the Mandarin in disguise, and the Mandarin is nothing more than a British actor. So it's actually, hang on, let me look at the Blu-ray case because I'm bad with names. Give me one quick second. It's actually Guy Pearce and not Sir Ben Kingsley that is the main villain of the film. Sir Ben Kingsley ends up being, at least I think he's knighted. Isn't he knighted? Maybe he's not. But anyway, Kingsley ends up being a puppet to the scientist, and I'm terrible with character names after seeing a film or a TV show only once. I mentioned that before, so I do apologize. There will be an IMDb link down below in the description box. But that was the big thing, is that the Mandarin was, the quote-unquote Mandarin that is, was not actually the Mandarin. And in fact, he is a puppet on a string, and that the scientist is actually the main villain. So I can understand, having been a long time Marvel fanboy myself, I can understand why so many people were upset by that. But I think the reason they did it goes back to what I said a minute ago. This is the most reality-based of all the Marvel franchises. Tony Stark is basically Bruce Wayne or Peter Parker, in the sense that he is a real guy who, well, Peter Parker got bit by a radioactive spider, so yes, he's a real scientist, but what actually happens to him is kind of over the top and unbelievable. Same with Bruce Banner, but he's definitely a Bruce Wayne type of character, and Tony Stark is, in the sense that Stark is just a weapon specialist who was just thrown into the superhero life because of what happened with his weapons and how his weapons were being utilized by terrorists, and he didn't know it. And the Iron Man suit, of course, as followers of all the franchises know, whether it's the comic books or the films, the purpose of the suit is to give Stark that power, for him to utilize his mind and his ingenuity to be somebody that criminals fear. So when you have that basis and you have a villain like the Mandarin, who is so extreme, so over the top, so dark in everything he is and does, it doesn't really play off in a day and age where you're trying to make a realistic superhero film, because the Mandarin as he's written in the comics is not a villain that they could have created. And B, it doesn't play off in a society where everyone is so afraid to really show true terrorism in a film, because we as a nation, or we as a world, I don't want to just exclude it to the US here, my apologies, but we as a world have seen terrorism. We as a world have been affected by terrorism, and we know what real terrorism can be and do. So it is a sensitive subject, and you do have to be careful about how far you can go. And I think that was what was facing the filmmakers of Iron Man 3. And that's why the Mandarin is so different on screen than what we ever thought he would be. Now, you can make the argument that this is a superhero film people know it's not real, and you can be over the top and as crazy as you want to be. Case in point, the Joker in The Dark Knight, the second in the Dark Knight trilogy from DC. And to that point, I say you're absolutely right. But I can kind of see what they were trying to do, and that is that they were trying to keep this film grounded and make it all about Tony Stark's journey, because that's what this is. It's about how Stark's psyche was affected following the attack in New York at the culmination in the Avengers. And because Stark is that normal guy without powers, even more normal than Captain America, because Captain America gets superhuman soldier juice. Because Stark is that guy, he has that human psyche, and that human psyche gets warped and twisted and affected, and it really turns him into a very, very scarred individual. And you see him doubt himself throughout this entire film from start to finish. So I liked it because I thought It was really well done. And I thought the effects and all the battles and everything were an extension of a real story with a real man. And so from that standpoint, I think this is the best of all the Marvel solo films. And I think that it is, or at least, at the very least, the best of all the Iron Man films. And I think that it is a film worth seeing. However, I cannot give it a perfect score because of the changes to the Mandarin and because of how impartial I am to him. So, that being said, I give it an 8 out of 10, maybe a 7.5. I say go watch Iron Man 3 and make it about seeing it as a film and seeing it work within this Marvel universe that was created beginning with the first Iron Man. And don't really look at it as a faithful comic adaptation, and it will be an enjoyable film for you. Now, as far as special features, what you get here is featurettes on the making of Iron Man 3, a featurette deconstructing the final battle scene, which was the takeover, well, one of the final battle scenes, like the culmination of, or the beginning rather, sorry, of the final battle scene, which was the attack on Air Force One. And then you have a bunch of deleted and extended scenes and a gag reel and audio commentary. I, of course, watched everything but the audio commentary because I very rarely, and I'm sure you all are the same way, you don't watch a film and turn right around and listen to the commentary in the same day, because that's just too much of an overkill for you for one film. You usually wait a day or two. So I can't comment on the commentary, and the commentary should be an interesting listen because they probably get way more into why they made the changes they made to such an iconic villain, and it's probably either confirming what I just said, or excuse me, it probably is confirming what I just said. It's just they're going to be much more elaborate on it and really break it down and explain it. But yeah, I enjoyed all the special features of the film. I was hoping for a little bit more. I could be wrong, but I could swear there was a 3-disc edition of this, you know, with like 2 Blu-rays and a DVD, but I haven't been able to find it anywhere. And when Matt sent this to me, he said this was the one with all of the special features. So maybe I just saw something I thought I didn't see. But I was kind of hoping for a little bit more special feature-wise because it is the least loaded of all the Marvel films as far as behind-the-scenes stuff. And I wonder if that's because they did get kind of a negative backlash after the fact from it because of those changes to the Mandarin. But overall, I enjoyed everything I got here. And like I said, I thought all the performances are really well done, especially that of Robert Downey Jr., Guy Pearce, Ben Kingsley, and Gwyneth Paltrow. I thought all the characters were really well done. And heck, I thought even Jon Favreau, who comes back as Happy Hogan, doesn't come back as the director, but comes back as Happy Hogan in the film. Even he grew as a character. So, yeah, there's growth from everybody, growth from Don Cheadle, War Machine. It's a really, really good film. It's just not, I don't think, what fans expected to see. So, that is my take on Iron Man 3. Great, standalone, reality-based film, not so much a perfect comic adaptation. So I hope you all enjoyed my review. As always, full screen referral link down below in the description box if you'd like to apply to become a full YouTube partner, as well as all the company contact information for the company I work for. It's Head of Public Relations, Handi Enterprises Inc., your assistive technology specialist. So please follow the social media for them if you haven't already done so. This is reality according to the Razman and Razman style. It's not just a catchphrase, but a way of life.